So there was this karmic individual that called themselves trying to talk mess about your situation, and they tried to use so many different words to talk about you, and they ended up being the very thing that they said about you. Like, there were moments where money was tight for you because you weren't working at the time. Like, you were in between jobs, you were looking for work, looking for employment, looking for a source of income. Excuse me, but until that came, you were struggling. Like, you really were struggling. You were struggling to make ends meet. You were struggling to pay your bills. You may have even had to like move back in with your parents if you had your own place. You may have had to, and if it wasn't your parents, you may have moved in with like a relative or a friend of yours or somebody that you had to move in with in order to, just get your finances together until you were able to move back out on your own. And while you may have been in a moment where you were like couch hopping and stuff like that, and just sleeping on people's floors, whatever the case was, and these people, these karmic individuals that knew about your situation were talking so negatively about you that they were calling you a bum, basically. They were calling you a bum. I have to just say it. And for others of you, they were calling you a bum because you weren't working or you just didn't have a lot of money at the time, for whatever the case was. And it's very ironic because the person that was trying to call you a bum for not working also wasn't working, also didn't have any job, also didn't have any income coming in, also was relying on other people to pay their bills. So it's like, how are they going to call you a bum for not working when they aren't working? How are they going to call you a bum for not having any money when they don't have any money? You see where the projection was coming from? All they were doing was projecting. And it got to a point where they got humbled so quickly that the Most High made them look like what they tried to call you. They tried to call you a bum. It got to a point where they started looking like a bum. It was their clothes, their body, like they may have. You see, the thing about the Most High will humble someone very quickly when they're talking about another person's situation as if they cannot be in that situation themselves. So what the Most High did is the Most High affected their appearance first, affected their body. So for some, they gained a lot of weight and it was not distributed evenly, and they just looked a certain way because they gained a lot of weight and it was not distributed evenly. They went up a few sizes. They were bigger than what they used to look like. It was like people had saw them, and then maybe a month or so later they're seeing them again and they're like, when did you gain so much weight? That's what people would think, but they wouldn't say it out loud. You know what I'm saying? Another thing could have been they could have been heavier and they lost a lot of weight. Like, they lost so much weight to a point where some people are just meant to be small. Some people are meant to be larger. This was the type of person where they're meant to be on the larger side because that's just naturally in their nature. And to see them so small just didn't really look right on them. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. They got very thin. Clothes are hanging off of them. Like, they looked like they had lost a lot of weight. They looked very thin. They just were not looking like their normal self. They had to look the complete opposite of what they normally looked like. So if they're more on the slimmer side, they had to gain a lot of weight. And if they're more on like the, thicker side, they had to lose a lot of weight to look as small as what they looked. They affected their appearance first. Another thing is their face. Their face came next. They started looking older in their face. And when they looked older than their age. So they were starting to look like someone much older than how old they were. And it was affecting their appearance and their face, and they were not feeling as attractive in their face. Other things were happening where, for some of these people, their hair was just not looking the best. Their hair was not done. It's like the Most High was halting them from getting their hair done. Maybe if they could easily go to the barber shop or the beauty salon, like let's say this is males and they had to go to the barber shop regularly. Something was happening where their finances were in the way, where they couldn't afford to do so. Maybe they didn't have a pair of clippers on their own. They weren't able to have someone to cut their hair, so their hair was just looking just their hair was growing, but it wasn't lined up, it wasn't looking neat, it was just looking very poor. Or if it was someone that was could regularly go to the beauty shop or regularly get their hair done, and the way that the girls do it now is they don't necessarily go to the beauty shop all the time. Sometimes they just go to a hairstylist, and the hairstylist will maybe come to their house, or they will go to their house and get their hair done, stuff like that. So these women could regularly get their hair done at the shop or by a stylist. And it got to a point where money was so tight for them that they weren't able to go get their hair done. They weren't able to call up their main girl like, hey girl, can you come put some braids in my hair? Can you come do some twists? They weren't able to do that. They weren't able to go up to their beauty salon and get their regular appointment done like they were able to, because they were just so busy talking so much crap about somebody else that the Most High had to humble them and had to let them know that, like, some of these people were working. Some of these people were having money. They did have a source of income. But it got to a point where that source of income was snatched from them. Okay? Was snatched from them. So for those that, it's different energies. I know I had mentioned before, but the different energies was there was some people that they were not working. They didn't have a source of income. So they were projecting, trying to call you a bum, and then they were in a situation where others can look at them as they were a bum, but their situation worsened, where they may have been able to find a job sooner, or maybe have a source of income, or maybe even someone's going to come in and help do their hair, but none of that happened. They halted that because they had to be humbled. Or for others, those that were just these, ungrateful, entitled people that had their needs being met, but they were still ungrateful. They were entitled. It's feeling as if they had to have this, and how dare I not receive this? Ungrateful, entitled, and the people that took for granted what they had. That's where the Most High had to humble them and take certain things away from them, take away a source of income, or take away some of their money. The Most High may have added other bills to them so they didn't have extra stuff to like move around with, because whatever the Most High did to humble these people, the Most High humbled these people quickly. And they became the very thing that they tried to talk about somebody else with. So you have these people that they tried to call you a bum, but they ended up looking like the bum. They ended up looking like one. Their hair was a hot mess. Their hair wasn't neat. Their hair wasn't straight. Their clothes are hanging off of them, and their clothes doesn't fit them properly. Like, they may have gained a lot of weight before they were able to get themselves some more clothes, and the clothes were fitting too tight, and it didn't look right. They may have been not even able to wash their clothes, and they had to wear these dirty clothes from the hamper, and it had stains on them, and they're looking like a bum when they had to just go to the post office to mail a letter, or go to Walmart to go get some toiletries. You never know what the Most High did with these people's situations, but just know, like, you won't know the fullness of what they did, you won't know the fullness of what the Most High did, but what the Most High did was the Most High humbled these people very quickly, because they're not going to sit up there and talk about a child of the Most High God and get away with it. They're not going to downplay someone. They're not going to talk down on someone and look down on someone for their situation as if they can't be in that situation themselves. So the Most High put them in a situation that was similar to yours or even worse than yours, so that they can see that they need to stop talking about people. Stop talking about people and their struggles, because they could be the ones to struggle next. And that's the lesson that they learned. They struggled next. Did these people learn their lesson? Some of them did, but not all of them did. Some of them are still the same exact way. So even when things get worse for them, they still aren't changing. Situations have to get even worse for them to turn their life around.